I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs blown. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make a man and some pressure make a gemstone. Try to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Ninja boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, I'm scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh. Get it from my mama hip, so take that I need tempo. Personality, spicy body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing. You need endurance to go in, I got mileage on this pen. I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
you guys know, I know you guys were checking shoes last night to see if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant.
Judgment, Alfred.
Chloe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinin.
You mean shining?
Shh! You wanna get sued?
Judgment, Alfred.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a-running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, Bob. I love him when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative, and it is so good to see all of you guys tonight. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being patient on the couple of days I took off. I actually had a really good conversation with one of our someone that Captain Jules had sent over to me, and it's a family member of one of the missing posters that I shared out not too long ago. So it's Zachary Vidal. We're going to take a look at his picture. here in a second. But I had a wonderful conversation with her. We're going to have a live panel on Tuesday to discuss Zachary's case and just get people familiar with it over here on our channel because, you know, we have never really talked about or got into Zachary's story, and I would really like for you guys to share his flyer out because he has been missing for 3 years, and, you know, his family misses him. They love him. They want him to come home. They just wanna know he's safe, right? And he is older, so he was 27 when he went missing. He's now 30 years old. And so that makes it a little bit different. And we're going to talk about some of those dynamics as well when we have his Aunt Cindy up on the panel. So I hope you all will join us for a day show. And then tomorrow I want to do a day show as well. Because I will have some time to do that tomorrow. So, hey, Chuchi, so good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Also, good, good to see you, Joe. Yes, we always want to just stay on topic, guys. And remember, there's new people that are coming in to hear about Devlin's case, right? That's right, Gail. Thank you so much for the blue hearts, guys. Gail says, we are Devlin's army, and that's right. We are. Over here, you know, we're always trying to find out more and peel back the onion, so to speak, on the stories, which I think are, you know, great indicators for what may have happened, right? So, so good to see you, Emma. Good to see you. Thank you for being here, and thank you so much again, Gail, and thank you guys so much for the green hearts. Hey, Kiki, so good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you guys being here, and also for everyone sharing out the information with Mob Crew because I haven't had a chance to really, you know, deep dive into or watch all of his lives that are coming out, but I did watch a really good premiere that was short and, you know, kind of giving the sequence of events and then, you know, what the theory is, putting the puzzle pieces together. I watched that, which was really good. Everything that Mob comes out with, I, you know, enjoy watching. But as I said, you know, diving into these other cases, you know, I takes a little bit of time away. So I just appreciate it when you guys can, you know, clip that stuff and send it over to me. It's really, really appreciated. And hey, Kelly Holcomb. So that's what I'm basing my opinions on tonight is just the bits and pieces that I've gotten too. But I did want to speak about it. And hey, Kylie's Nail Candy, good to see you. Meow is here. Just want to shout out all of you guys in the chat. I really appreciate you guys being here. Hey, Paige. Paige says, oh, and I wanted to read this one as well, really quick. Kylie says, my prayers go out to Seth at this difficult time of year. Yes, guys. And, you know, I don't even know if there are words that can describe, you know, what it must be like to be missing your child around this time of year. It's always hard if we've lost a loved one or just anything resembling that. You know, the holidays are the hardest because those are the times, you know, that you build great memories. And my heart goes out to Seth too because I know that that's all he wants to do is keep building memories with Sebastian and being with his son. So thank you, Kylie, for that. I really appreciate that, and I'm praying right along with you for protection for Seth and Sebastian. And Paige says, I'm praying so hard that LE takes this into account. I think about the cemetery. Yeah, seriously. Does something to check soon. I'm so concerned. You know, I mean, I have a couple of different theories on the cemetery, which I was under the assumption that the cemetery lights were, you know, I think it was Saturday night and then Sunday night, and actually it was supposedly Sunday and Monday night. So again, guys, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong too, because like I said, I'm going off of like the snippets, right? The tidbits that I've been given. And good to see you, Detroit. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, lovely dragon. She says, "Aw, good to see you, Detroit." I hope you guys all had a great Christmas. And like I said, I had to take just a little bit of time to go over this new case. I like to kind of dive in and kind of get to know everything, about the case. Hey, Bo. Hey, Holly S. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Um, so, and good to see you, Maria Gutierrez. So nice to see you. Let's see. Who else do we have in the chat? Hey, Shadow. Good to see you, Shadow. And thank you for the green hearts. That's so sweet. Hey, Ebony. Good to see you. Also, let's see. Who else do we have in here? Hey, Kiki. Kiki's here. Good to see you, Kiki. Also, let's see who we have. I know I saw some more. Oh, there we go. Brenda Sue is here. Good to see you, Brenda Sue. So good to see you guys. And thank you all so much for what I do know about Seth is that he loves it when we put the green hearts in chat for Sebastian. He absolutely appreciates it. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Little Miss Sharon, thank you so much for being here. It's so good to see you. Hey, Kylie Ray, good to see you. Welcome in, everyone. Hey, Sammy. So good to see all of you guys. Thank you all so much for being here. So, tonight I want to go over a couple of things. One is going to be the search for Devlin. So on hello. Okay, so December 18th, right? There was a search for Devlin, and they did a live stream, a couple of them, and so I just grabbed the one where whenever Jessica was up there because that's his mom, and so I was like, well, we'll take a look at that, and shout out to the searchers for working so hard for Devlin too. So we're gonna go over that, but first I wanted to talk a little bit about the cemetery and kind of what my thoughts are. And again, I want to know what you all think because you guys have probably watched every single one of Mom's videos. So I could really use some help there. And so good to see you with the green hearts. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kylie. How do you do a lot of green hearts? You just keep pressing the little heart button. I know like I heard it's like looked at as spam, but I don't care. Spam it up, guys. Spam it up. Make sure you get some eggs with that spam. So, um, but yeah, we love doing that because I know we got a lot of us got kicked out whenever we were over. Oh, whose was it? Um, oh, Lore Lodge. They did not want us spamming the chat with green hearts, and everyone was upset, and they were kicking everybody out. They were kicking everybody out and timing everybody out. That was too funny. And a lot of people were complaining the next day, like, what? I just put green hearts in the chat. I got kicked out. So hey, Ann Reynolds, good to see you. Thank you for being here. So you don't see the green hearts? Really, guys? Well, Paige has put green hearts in there. Maybe you have to go into all the other colorful hearts. Like you maybe have to just scroll over. So, and then they come up. There you there you go, Detroit. Detroit's got us. She's like, there you go. And prayer hands too. Aw, and kisses and hugs. That's so sweet. Love you guys there. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Gigi. You guys are awesome. So with the lights video, hey Marie, good to see you, Purple Freak. And with there's a couple of things. Um, so right across the street is the Shackle Island Fire Department. And then we have the Masonic Lodge when you're driving into the cemetery. It would be, depending on which way you're turning. Well, no, because it would be the same way, I believe. Um, so you come in and if you look over to the right, you'll see that. And then there's also like a church building. And then, there's the cemetery. So thank you guys. Hey, Diana Bond, good to see you. Thank you for being here. And so, I mean, there's a lot of cameras. Now the thing about cameras is somebody would have to have gone over there and got that footage, right? Right? Like if no one asked for it, but then again, everyone was being asked for that footage, right? Like it was all over the news in the first week. I did a video, gosh, in the beginning, kind of doing a rewind on the first 7 days. And we've kind of gone over that a few times here. Um, where they came out and initially searched, right? And then it's more intense as the days are going along with the weather. And, you have day 4 where Sheriff Craddock does the first press conference. Um, and comes out and talks about that. Now, Mayor Isbell was present as well as one of the public relations officers over at the TBI. Susan Nyland is her name. So those 4, excuse me, and also Ken Widener. So those 4 were all in attendance at that initial press conference, letting us know about Sebastian Rogers. And they showed us the maps from Sartopo, which is where they track their searches, right? That's where all the search maps are at. And then, it's a matter of downloading that app and then wherever you've searched, your phone will map that out and add it to places searched. Good to see you, SI officer. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys. Thanks, Joe. Joe gives us one green one green heart. Good to see you, Joe. But we saw all of that kind of transpire and go down. Now, there were a lot of other agencies assisting. Another thing that happened during that first week was that they brought in specialists who deal with children on the spectrum or individuals on the spectrum to kind of gather some more information to understand who we were looking for, right? Which is Sebastian Rogers. Now, when Chris and Katie initially came out, I know there was a lot of fuss over cussing and fussing, really, over the way that Sebastian was portrayed to us, right? Because it does matter when we're building a profile on someone or when we are trying to build victimology or just getting to know this person and what their habits, mannerisms are, what's typical for them, establishing, a baseline of information is tough when we don't have the correct information. So that's something to consider. Now, again, I have my background up. We have the TBI narrative, right? And then we have reality. Um, them trying to push off younger pictures of Sebastian was also a big problem that we saw in his case to begin with. Hey, Live a Little. And so, with that being said, that can always kind of throw us for a loop, right? Because we've wasted time and energy and efforts in the wrong places when that occurs. So that was a big one. But nevertheless, law enforcement searched the 5-mile radius around Sebastian's house, uh, expended every resource that they could, right? So we did see that within the first 7 days. Then they scaled the search back for Sebastian. But they had the mobile command center for all of this right across the street from that cemetery. So I just want to put that into perspective for everyone. Hey, Dr. Pepper Princess. Um, just so you guys know that. And I wanted to show you really quick the video of the cemetery in the daylight, of course. Because we weren't trying to go there at night. It's not like which I will say hats off to Silvers for going there at nighttime because that was you know a good test that they did on the cemetery. And let me just pull in. All right. I do believe it was this one. Yeah, because we went to Worsham's. We went to the cemetery first. Okay, here we go. Yeah. All right. So this is the area. And let me go ahead and pull it from here. And you guys could watch this whole video. It's just called A Mysterious Truck in Front of the Feet's Ride Around Hendersonville with Lady and Jen. And so this is Sebastian's high school coming up here. And it's Beach High School, Hendersonville, Tennessee. And we all kind of know it because that's where Sebastian was given his award presented to his father, and they did a vigil here at the school. There used to be a missing flyer at the school, or excuse me, a yard sign at the school, but it was not there when I went there in October, which is unfortunate. Yeah, thanks, Kiki. Yeah, Jen was driving and we were navigating. So, okay, good. I just want to make sure I'm muted. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so you go past the school, right? And I know there was some talking activity about the school area. So if anybody's kind of wondering, back through there is like a little stadium. This over here. All right, and then you go down, right? And you're going to come off of this road again onto Long Hollow. And that building that in front of that semi is the Shackle Island Fire Department. And this is where the mobile command center was set up. So they have a pretty big parking area, but right here they had the mobile command center, and you can kind of see that as we go by. Right, so I wanted to make sure we got that. But then we come up on this side, and this is where the church and the Masonic Lodge is. And so we turned in, and here's the Masonic Lodge. And it was very active on a Saturday morning. There's people there hanging out. Looks like old timers, really. No offense there, right? But then we have Beach Christian Life Church, and as you can see, very well lit, right? And then also, I think there probably is a camera in here. I saw, I saw a photo that was circulating that showed cameras, also on the building. But see, it's a pretty big church. And then you hit the cemetery. And then you can see the stadium. So this is how you can kind of tell the proximity of what we're looking at here. So no, I didn't see I didn't see that, Kiki, on Crab Pick. No, what was what was it? I gotta know. And thank you so much for your super sticker. No, I did not see it. I did not see it. Good night, Chuchi. Thank you for being here. Yes, we love you, Chuchi. No, what's up with Crab Pick? All right. So then, of course, these are all people resting in peace, hopefully. And it's a nice, well kept cemetery over there, guys. It's historic, but it's also well kept. So, and you can see there's a great big area. This is owned by the church. Just so everybody kind of knows, it does kind of butt back up, and then there's a retention pond over here. And you can see benches, and then this is the columbarium, excuse me. And you can see it's highly reflective. You can see the car go past. And then I know people were wondering about the grave sites and stuff like that. Again, this is a Saturday morning, so we do see an undertaker here. Actually, I did a double take because I was like, what? Wait, what? Right? Because I was thinking that it was more of a historic, right? Place where they weren't really burying more people there, but they are. So there is that, right? But yeah, this is footage of someone, being laid to rest, and how they do that. So I don't know, but you could also see all the mountains of dirt on the side here. Some more mountains of dirt because of course they want to keep the grounds nice and, neat. But then they kind of use this field as overflow from other, junk, right? Tree limbs, that sort of thing. All right, hold on, Kiki. Let me see. Oh, hold on. This is what I wanted you guys to listen to really quick. Whoop. All right, hold on.
This was not here when Sebastian went missing. I swear to God.
Right. Right. Well, that's the disadvantage, Jen, is that, oh man, I wish I would have came out,
She done made me no.
No, it doesn't go through, huh?
Yeah, this wasn't paved. This was dirt. This was dirt. I swear.
But see, that's gated.
I've got a witness too. My daughter and the girl that brought me out here.
That's gated too, though, Jen. How would they get through in a car?
Well, she wouldn't have. But I'm telling you, this was gated, and this wasn't a road.
It's a trail, basically.
And the church, that church,
mm-hmm.
owns all that, and we've searched that. This is Ward Lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that butts up against the neighborhood.
Back up and then keep your front wheels on the pavement if you're trying to turn around.
Okay.
Okay, there, guys. I just wanted you to listen to that part where Jen's like, hey, this was all dirt, this dirt road back through there. And you can see it's gated, so there's one way to get in there, because that's what I was trying to think. I mean, was there one way to get in there or one way to get out? I'm like, I don't know. But I double checked too with Jen, and I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, it's in your video. And I was like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I just want to make sure that I'm not going crazy. Oh, I'm sorry, Andrea, to hear that. I hope you feel better soon, hon. Has anyone Google Earth the gravesite area, seeing the fresh burials in relation to what area is being studied? I have not. But I do know that Jen also said this area had been searched back here. So hold on one second.
Definitely don't want to get her fucking horse stuck.
That's why I say keep the front wheels on the pavement.
Okay.
So you get off the pavement, you got to try to get the back on the lip of the pavement.
So it was right through here that, like, this looks completely different. I'm telling you.
Right. You could tell it's new. You could tell it's all new. I mean, yeah.
And I'm very surprised. I mean, you still can't drive through there. I mean, you still can't.
Because they were like,
but none of this was here. Like, this was all, we tracked it. And this was here. And it's from the flooding.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that looks new. I remember we went through here. See, it actually, when I came after Sebastian went missing, you couldn't drive a car back through here. It was all grown up, just like we just backed up into.
Right.
It was all grown up. So this was as far as you could go, right through here. Because I remember this. They searched this area a lot. This area.
Right,
through
because
here
just
a
in case he
lot.
would have gotten, like, if he did leave out, you know.
And so we've got.
Okay, guys, so I just wanted to stop it right here. So again, someone, you know, they're doing this all during the daytime. I was just thinking that if there was anything, especially the businesses around, I don't know why they wouldn't have given up the camera footage earlier on, unless law enforcement has it and they just can't identify the vehicles, is another thing that I'm thinking. Um, did you guys see Krabby Tree was there searching, found that barbed wire was cut? No, when was that, Bo? I didn't see that. I don't really pay attention. Like the only time I watch Crabtree is if Josh is reviewing him. That's literally the only time that I watch him. I mean, I might be sent his posts, like some of his weird posts that he posts on X and stuff from time to time, but other than that, uh no, I'm good on that. But it was on Mob. Oh, okay. Huh. Interesting. See, and I did not watch the latest one. Was it the most recent one? But well, and that's what I mean, like, someone has to, I mean, they might have it. You're right, as an officer. Like, either they have it, but and then also I'm thinking that this footage probably, and this is just a wild guess, right? But I'm thinking this footage came from Bobby the neighbor when they did the tests and everything. I'm guessing that's who it is, but I could be wrong, you know? So oh, it was, like, an older video from Christmas of '24. Okay. Crab was there Christmas of '24. Yep, recent that was on Mob Crew. It's the area of study which has Mob Crew very curious and intrigued. In my opinion, almost like a cruel joke, taking someone to a site that is of importance with guilty knowledge of certain someone. Yeah. Well, and I will say also that just with Jen saying this area was searched really thoroughly, um, you know, again, it makes me curious to know what's the, you know, big hustle bustle about this all of a sudden. And then also if they were searching that area, you know, do they think that is it something where they're thinking that, Sebastian was put into a grave after it was dug and someone was lowered in? Um, you know,
And it's from the
hold on one second.
flooding.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that looks new. I remember we went through here. See, it actually, when I came after Sebastian went missing, you couldn't drive a car back through here. It was all grown up, just like we just backed up into.
Right.
It was all grown up. So this was as far as you could go, right through here. Because I remember this. They searched this area a lot. This area.
Right,
through
because
here
just in
a
case he
lot.
would have gotten, like, if he did leave out, you know. Okay, sorry, I didn't want to rewind it that far back, but again, you know, it looks like there's a lot to it. So it was the person who accompanies him on searches, those two individuals. Oh, okay, 'cause that's what I was thinking could have been, like, a stronger possibility, Kiki. Thank you. Yeah, not saying that, lady. They could have buried items used, etcetera, or transfer of Sebastian. Yeah, okay, thank you. That's what I was wondering too. Um, because look, I mean, the thing is I believe that Sebastian was being told something that he did not like or want to hear, and I also think that, he was going, you know, e or excuse me, Katie was going on and on to him about something, pointing at him, right, telling him off, and then he retracted into himself, as if he did something wrong. And, if I'm looking at the video, I'm like, he's acting like a perfect angel. IML, a lot of people have been getting threats, but it's mostly, to my knowledge, like, just because of the idiots, on the YouTube streets. Like, my stalkers are stalking other people now because I took them to court, so now they gotta find someone else to stalk, which is terrible. It's really terrible. Um, but that's what they're doing. Um, so, the cemetery is right next to his house. It is, Andrea. It is right next to his house. Um, so that's what's interesting there. I'll show you guys because we're about to go over there right now. Um, so yeah. But again, it seems to me that the area was thoroughly searched unless they put something under the ground. And then if they're always churning up the soil and the ground over there, I don't see how items wouldn't have been found, especially after they cleared that area out. But then again, you never know. Um, Apparently there's a property listed in Kathy Guy's name in Alaska. I heard about that too, Little Miss Sharon. Yeah. Yeah. They do have kind of several properties. That's always, you know, made me wonder, especially because of the access to, homes that one would have or that one does have when you're a real estate agent, you know. Um, so but here we go. So when you go out, you'll see, the other side of everything, right? And go back around. But it's pretty much next door. And Hatfield and McCoy also thought this was a place of interest as well, right? I just think it would be very risky to do anything in that area. Also, with the 3 mile, or excuse me, the 5 mile radius search around the house over and over and over again. Um, you know, oh, this is going to be, this is the neighborhood right next door to it. So then you have the neighborhood, right? With the new construction. Whoopsie daisy. With the new construction area. And then I also wonder because I thought the police had um everything that they needed. See, here's their subdivision, Victoria Place. So, but something I have a creepy feeling about it. I mean, I think it's just creepy in general knowing that the cemetery has been talked about so many times. Um, that's a good thing then, Kiki. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine they would need to just go in there and make sure it's been searched thoroughly again, you know? Oh, don't be sorry, SI officer. No, no, you're good. I think they're giving him an ultimatum about something concerning the household or the situation about the reports, him opening up or something that he got in trouble for made him feel uncomfortable and was trying to persuade him, and he did not want to follow through. There was something that made him feel so uncomfortable, SI officer. I mean, um, can they get a dog in there and see if Sebastian sent? I mean, I would have I would think that if he got into a car, his scent would have been lost when he got into the car, and then it would have been, in a new location, so the dogs wouldn't have tracked it, right? So that's my way of thinking. Well, I think he was very tired of the abuse and he was telling on them. He was telling about it. He absolutely was, you know? So, oh, Holly says, I think they were gaslighting him and setting him up. I wonder about that as well. I wonder about that as well. And, it's so disheartening thinking that poor Sebastian had to deal with any type of punishment or abuse when he just seems like such a good kid, right? I mean, all kids are going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But it was like Chris Proudfoot wanted to beat the autism out of that kid, and you cannot do that. That is something that 150,000% will never work, right? But he's the smartest one in the room, right? And listen, I don't think he's dumb. Right? I think some of the things he says is dumb, and I think some of the ways about him are dumb. But I think that militarily speaking, he's been trained in a lot of different aspects that normal people or civilians, right, are not. So he had to have made it through all of that in order to, um, come out the other side of it with an honorable discharge. And the same thing goes for Katie, right? So, hey, Berry Happy. Yeah, the red truck is crab trees. Yeah. I didn't want to say it, in the video. I just kind of like let you guys speculate. But yeah, that's who I think it is. And again, guys, this is the neighborhood, almost 2 years after Sebastian went missing. So hello, Berry Happy. Good to see you. And so, you know, I think evidence would be spread out all over everywhere as well as an officer. And that's why, I mean, the thing is too is that Katie could have thrown anything in the trash can. She would have had to have thrown away whatever she did throw away would have had to have been thrown away, you know, before 5 a.m. And we know that there was activity in someone taking the trash out in a grainy video, around 7 o'clock that night. So did she throw away a burner phone? Did she throw away um any proof of residue from some sort of drug that she was handed off to by the green hoodie person? There's still so many unknowns, you know. Um so yeah, and it's hard to believe much of what Crabtree has said, right, Kylie Ray? It is. It's very tough to believe a lot of what has been said and speculated on, right? And then why are people so inclined to show this footage all of a sudden? Um, I'm guessing, like I said, I'm guessing maybe it's Bobby giving footage, or maybe it's someone in the newer builds, but a lot of that stuff wasn't there. So again, I'm just really curious because it does seem like it would be a long stretch. Um, even from the backyard on Kellen. And this is the area. This is the area we were in. But I want to know about that footage for sure because that area over there is well lit and has footage, I'm sure. The Masonic Lodge is not going to be you know, kind of left out to dry like that, right? I mean, in the middle of the night, they want to know who's around. Same thing with the church, in my opinion. I heard he's live. Hey, Justice for Noog. Very happy. I hear he's living there. Wonder why he went to the dark side. Does he know something? I don't know. I think that Crabtree is just more of a people pleaser, but I think he also knew that he could make more money being on that side of the aisle, you know, um, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I know he did searches and stuff with Jen in the beginning. I know he did a lot of searches, and was, being helpful. So that is unfortunate, you know. Yeah, sometimes that is the truth. Very happy. Yeah, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Yeah. I did not know Crabtree was involved in this again. Yeah, I know, and that's the issue. That's why I'm wondering if Bobby is doing some help or I'm just wondering what's going on in that regard. You know, well, and then the cemetery thing, like I said, was being talked about before too. I think she checked the light bulb security cameras, out the trash and replaced back with normal light bulbs. Yeah, that's very possible, Kylie. That is very possible. Well, maybe they had to find a place to regroup. I just find it to be an odd place to do that, especially right next to the crime scene, so to speak. Um, I know they had missing bulbs. I know their bulbs were missing. They took them off of the house, right? And then they replaced them after Sebastian went missing. So at some point, there should be some footage out there of them taking the lights down, taking the light bulbs out, and that would be up to their neighbors to give that up to the police. Because I would be checking my cameras to see when they took those bulbs out because then they replaced them. Yeah, I know. I think so too, Holly. I think he's volatile, unpredictable. I think he is, a drug addict, and unfortunately, I don't think that he can be trusted. Is my opinion of Mr. Crabman. Yeah, more money possibly has something on them. Yeah. Well, and he very well could because he was involved in the very beginning. Being a local. Um, So they could spy and yell at Sebastian through their phones even when they went home or weren't home. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, thank you also, Kylie, for pointing that out because that's the truth. Um, and that's very unfortunate. Um, oh, and then we also went over here to that guy that has a pig and everything. Yeah, and that could be it too, IML. That really could be. Not everybody's malicious, has malicious intent. Just sometimes they, yeah, get caught up. And, I mean, a lot of people were, uh, doing that very thing. So it kind of makes you wonder if they were paid. I mean, obviously. So I don't know about that. If he's helping with that, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, happy holidays. She says, wasn't he the one who outed CP for having an apartment? I don't know. Possibly. I'm not sure. Money, 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 right? Detroit. I mean, that's the whole thing. It does it definitely talks to people. And, we've seen many people go to either side, right? And I think a lot of it did have to do with, okay, what notoriety can I get? People thought they were going to meet Dog the Bounty Hunter. it's a, it's got got a little out of hand there. It's like you got let's do it for the right reasons, y'all. um, but yeah, and this is where that guy with the pig hat, they had the pig and everything. But yeah, I wanted to just kind of show you guys that so you could, take a look and make up your own minds about what is being put out. I'm not it's not clicking together in my head. Oh, he's not who's helping Mob. Thank you, Paige. It's just not all clicking together for me, and I might be missing something because I didn't get to watch all of it, and maybe that's it. I would like to hear more about this journal that Crabtree saw. Pretty shitty that Katie showed that to him. Holly, I agree. And whatever happened about that? Because I haven't heard anything about it since it kind of came out, right? I haven't heard a peep. And I think that is one thing that is important. Um, so yeah, I would love to know that too. All right. Okay, sorry, 1 second. I just realized that I forgot to post this or drop my video. Oh, let's do that really quick. Okay, sorry guys, multitasking is. Um, but yes, I would like to see that, Holly. Um, I'm not sure why Katie and Chris always like to humiliate Sebastian. Um, it is one of the most disgusting, vile, horrible things they have done in this case, right? Making it a circus. Oh, I just love telling about his crush on Taylor Swift, even though he'd be embarrassed and he wouldn't want me telling everybody. They mock him, they make fun of him. He's got his own unique rhythm. you know, hey, happy holidays. I mean, all that crap is gross, So, Miss Anne, I cannot help you with your sleepy time. I cannot help you, ma'am. Hey, guilty of a crime. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. So but but put some coffee on for us, Miss Anne. Get up and shake around a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. Good to see you, Lori. Oh, I love your I love your avatar. So cute. Um, there you go, Miss Anne. There you go. You got it before I even got to your comment. Look at you. Um, oh yes, no, no, very happy. Thanks for being here. So, Justice for Nuke says, in my opinion, I still think the phone call was to distract her, and cameras were messed with prior. Oh, I see. Okay, I see. Well, and I agree with that, and then I also think that. Well, I agree that that could be a possibility too, and I also think that there's something with the phone call, and that is one thing that kind of sticks out to me too. I was watching some TikTok videos because like I never really watched Sebastian's case on TikTok until now, which is really strange, but I really haven't, and I just kind of typed in Chris Proudfoot to kind of see what was all on there, and there were quite a few excerpts from when he was on like Queen Bee or Clues panel. And so I was listening to those, and that was one thing that he kept bringing up was that phone call and how it wasn't odd, and again, when people protest too much about something, it makes you wonder, like, why? Why are you trying to convince me of something that we've already gone over? Right? So he keeps bringing it up, bringing it up. That always makes me think that there's guilty knowledge because they're acting guilty, right? They won't stop bringing it up. Even when somebody else doesn't bring it up, it's like, well, I never even said anything about that? Um, I know, Holly. I hope Faith can get out of this mess unscathed. Well, I'll tell you what, Holly, I think that her mom does such a good job. I even feel bad creeping on her page, but like, she has a lot of pictures of the girls in like these beautiful dresses, and she has them doing, like artistic dance for, their culture, and just really, it looks like she's really trying hard to make things good. And then of course, when she's with Chris and Katie, it's like I know people were upset, and I of course made fun of them for going to Disney and stuff like that, but at least she wasn't in the house. So then I was like, well, I guess it's like a double-edged sword. I mean, so I think that when she's there, they try to like, you know, overcompensate, so that way she'll go home and she won't complain, or, so I don't know, but it's concerning because I mean, obviously you have this, beautiful little helpless girl, and she's there, and one of the kids went missing. It's weird, you know. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Thank you. Guilty of a crime says kind of like Jen Soto about Maddie Soto, nothing nice to say about their missing child. And like the deodorant stuff, and there were so many things that, like, I mean, oh, there was just so many that they kind of let out of the bag, which was very odd. Like, especially because they didn't see anything wrong with it, but everybody else that listened to it cringed. Um, does anyone remember why Sebastian did not have his phone when out with KP? What was the oh, that's a good question, Kiki. So, I don't think that that was ever addressed. I mean, basically, I guess you could say it was addressed when Chris was like, when we shut him down, when we got it locked down, it's locked down. So maybe like he wasn't allowed to use his phone without permission or something. But then again, that day could have been different than every other day. Um, so that's a good question though. Is it a close, dark area for wrongdoing, secluded, darker, and way out of area to get gone? Well, I'm wondering about that Stop 30 road as a handoff as well. Yeah, I know. I know. Well, I mean, look, he wasn't wearing the pull-ups. If Chris wasn't there for the whole month of February, we didn't see Sebastian wearing pull-ups at the Texas Roadhouse now. So, I mean, that could be a very good indication that he wasn't afraid. He wasn't having that stress response. Um, Establishing an alibi page says, yeah, I can see that definitely. Yeah, I mean, my views of Katie has gone back and forth, SI officer. You guys probably know that though, because, I was like, well, she could be being abused by Chris, but then she could also be the perpetrator of, um, because narcissists like to triangulate, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor or anything, but from kind of what I've experienced or seen, they like to triangulate, especially, there's a perfect amount for that in that household. And Katie didn't want to bear the brunt of him, so she joined in, right? You can't beat them, join them. You get the fleas from the narcissist. It's all very textbook. um and so I thought about that, a lot. And then also I've considered Katie's trauma. I consider everything with that. And, you know, especially when I'm, hearing that Katie wasn't always like that with Sebastian. It was something that kind of evolved over time, more or less. Also, when Tony was on Mr. and Mrs. E's crime cast and they were talking about some of what was in the records, for CPS and things like that, all things considered, um, it sounded like Chris was the one in the household that was being told, right? Or was it was leaning more towards that he was the issue than, say, Katie and Sebastian were, right? And of course Sebastian's not the issue, he's the kid, right? And I'm a firm believer of that. If the kids are having so much problems, we got to look at the parents. Now again, sometimes kids can have issues and that's not it, but it's important to at least be self-aware enough to understand that it might be, what you're modeling and stuff like that. So um and it is crazy that he didn't have his phone, especially for a 15-year-old, right? And most of the time, I mean, Katie was on the phone, and well, from what we saw of the footage, I will say that much. She was on her phone and taking pictures of him secretly, you know? So, yeah. Alibi establishing for KP and CP. Yeah. Yeah, for both of them because of course, you know, police are going to look at the phone records, and that's another thing when it comes to phone records too. Guilty of a crime and Page, I mean, you know the fact of the matter is he was saying, oh, our phones were so clean, and it's like, well, Chris, that kind of, points to guilt as well when there's no evidence, because that means that maybe somebody was cleaning evidence up, or maybe, they weren't letting Sebastian use the phone for a reason, in order to be like, oh, he doesn't do social media, he doesn't have that kind of capability and everything else. So, I mean, I think about that as well. Yeah, and and that's another thing too. She never needs to be around Kate, or she never needs to, meaning Faith, right? Needs to be around Katie's family with all the RSOs. And that's, a big one that we see in these cases is that there's when there's RSOs involved, it's never a good situation, especially if they're active within the family. Um You know, I agree, Holly. I agree. And you just can't let people around like that. I mean, that's just one thing that we know that they don't change. I swear I thought I seen Sebastian pull a phone out, but and put it back in his jeans pocket at the Texas Roadhouse, but maybe I'm incorrect. I saw that too. Kylie, I did see that. Where it does appear that Sebastian might have had something in his pocket. I don't know if it was a phone or maybe if it was like a fidget or something, but he never does take it out of his pocket to like show that there's a fidget or something. But he definitely has his hands in his pockets um at a couple of times, especially when he gets up from the table. Um thank you, little Miss Sharon. And also, in my opinion, they also could have her making a voice, or excuse me, making a choice surrounded by X amount of people like they did Nina. You have to think about that also. LE and connections leaves KP vulnerable in a sense. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Excuse me. SI officer, that's a great point. So Katie is basically on her own in Tennessee. So we always know about the isolating behavior as well. And like you said, when it comes to what Nina experienced, it's a safe bet that that happened with Katie as well. I know that Katie likes to get in on the action, right? Because she was obviously filming Nina and her despair and posting it live on the internet. Only a sick and twisted sadistic person would do something like that. That is absolutely disgusting in my opinion. So of course, I considered that with Katie, where she's got that mean streak, right? She wants to pretend like she's this, sweet little Southern belle. I wouldn't do nothing wrong. Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And whatnot. But honestly, she's not that. She is someone who would partake in the I mean, poor Nina. I hate to say it because I know she's a strong lady, and I'm not trying to discount that. But I mean, the torture of somebody like that, like you're literally causing someone PTSD, you know, in that regard. So Katie and Jen need to be sharing the same jail cell for at least 40 years. Yeah, Kylie, really. Oh gosh. And poor Maddie. That is another sad situation where a mom would choose her boyfriend over her daughter. Um Stop 30, that electrical substation gives me chills. Well, and then not to mention all the bones, Kylie. And here I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you guys are going to think that we set this whole thing up where we're going where there's all these bones. But no, it's like it's like a spot where people go to do stuff, dump stuff off. Probably, kids might go over there to drink some beers, whatnot. Um, so right, in my opinion, for everything I say, right? Guilty of a crime, exactly. I know, that's why I always laugh because I'm like, well, I did name my channel Lady Freedom's Raw Narrative, so it's the way I see it, but it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't always go over well. People be like, you have to say it. As an officer, one or both, right? There's definitely conspiracy going on there. I wouldn't put it past this case because it's been so odd, and then all of the people involved in it. You know, well, mostly just local people that don't have the best intentions. So, I don't know. Good morning, Tony Fire. Good to see you. Thanks for being here, friend. Aw. Mosquito Bite says, I think they didn't want anything on the footage from Sunday more than what they would find in the home and nothing that could be tracked, in my opinion. Mosquito Bite, thanks for being here. Yeah, and I mean, I can definitely understand that too. Um, Boy, I would just be looking at everything, especially just anywhere, any places around the area. I would think that they would have checked the cameras, especially because if Sebastian took off walking, he could have went back in that direction past the fire station or past the, cemetery, past the school. Um, I just, again, guys, I just have to say, um, anybody that thinks Sebastian walked off without any shoes on in the middle of the night like that, you try it. Cause I mean, I don't think he would have gotten far, guys, even on the pavement, walking barefoot. I think his feet would have started hurting him after a while. I mean, let's face it, we wear shoes and, our shoes or our feet still hurt with shoes on. But walking straight barefoot or even in socks, I can't see him making it very far that way. Um, so Kylie, so I don't think you would make a call on the phone that would they would be worried. Well, and that yeah, yeah, IML. Oh gosh, Shanda Vander Ark. Oh my gosh, that lady she was really something else. Listening to her jail calls, I was like utterly disgusted. I was watching well, same thing with Paul. Paul was another one that was just, I mean, and then he had girlfriends and it was really wild. That was a those are kind of the things I watch when, I'm not when I'm taking a break from true crime, I go listen to the jail calls from true crime. No, but yeah, I've listened to I think almost all of them. Unfortunately, curiosity killed the cat on that one. I was watching an old short of yours about the connection between Sling Blade and CP making Sebastian sleep in the garage allegedly. It was from a year ago and it brought back a lot of questions. Thanks, Detroit, for rewatching that. Yeah, it was weird, right? Because it was almost like there were a lot of similarities in Sling Blade itself, right? Like that story is about a man who, has special, needs or different abilities, right? And then he's, befriended this young man whose mother is being abused by her boyfriend. And, they let Sling Blade, stay out in the garage. And, it, gosh, it was so weird. And then, Sling Blade takes care of the abusive guy and calls the police on himself and in the end of the movie. But it was very strange how they did that. And then also Clue like acting like she had no idea it was going to happen and oh, I swear guys, I didn't know. And then at the end of her life she's like, "Yeah, you should have heard as Jim Carrey from the other night." And I'm like, "Oh my lord, what am I what am I watching?" So but thanks, Detroit. Yeah, there's a lot of questions for me too. Um, and again, I just feel like they were punishing Sebastian for things that he couldn't control, and that they were creating themselves even, so but I think Katie's guilty. I do. Well, and I think she just has guilty knowledge. Say something happened accidentally, that still doesn't change hiding information and everything. So, um, SA officer says, in my opinion, though, if that was the case, I would have taken off with my child. Yeah, I agree with that, SA officer. And the thing is that Katie did have her own money. She could have gotten out, and not everybody is in that position because a lot of times, financial abuse comes into play, or if they know that you're leaving, they'll try to do everything, for you not to leave, right? They'll mess with your car, they'll cut your bank account, they'll do all kinds of stuff. I mean, luckily that's getting harder and harder to do. But when you're married, depending on if everything is marital property, like Missouri is that way. When you're married, it doesn't matter if you have your separate bank account or not. It's all marital property. So if you're in an abusive relationship, then that person, has a lot more over you you know, than you would think. Nothing is your own once you're married. Which is scary. You got to be careful who you give that over to. So yeah, and access and the thing is about excuse me, the access that's given to the children or anybody in the family SI officer, and I'm all about forgiving people and I get it and I know people make mistakes, but that is something that you just cannot take a chance with once that is, said and done. Um Gina H says, remember Seth and him and Katie would have to ask Chris to let Sebastian have his phone. That's right. And also access to the internet, Gina. Thank you. Yeah, like his computer to use it for school. Like, how weird is that? How weird is that? IML says, question RSO mom, does anyone know if it's only girls or boys or both how it works, in my opinion? I don't know her mother's I hate to even say a preference because I know it's really icky. Um, I don't know. It could be both or I would just be worried about like someone screen recording my kid or something and sending it to their sicko friend or something. Like, oh my goodness, you know? I don't think Katie would have been lonely long. No, she's got a lot to offer somebody. I mean, now is different. They're so, notorious that I don't think anybody would ever go with either one of them. They're stuck with each other now. I mean, Um, I do too, Holly. I think if she was like, if you can't beat them, join them, you know? Yeah, and it is ridiculous. And then also asking, could you imagine having to ask somebody else's, like, a step parent for permission over your own child? Like, that just infuriates me thinking about it. Like, how dare you? I mean, unless somebody is like, not fit to the point where they have mental illness or they're, on substances or something like that. Like, I see that because they're not, you know, making good decisions for themselves, and how could they make good decisions for the kids. I totally get that, but we don't see that you know here. And poor Seth was kept in the dark about a lot of things, you know and they were just doing everything. Oh yeah, and Katie was pulling shit like, oh, Chris is his dad too. Chris is his dad. No, he's really actually not. And Seth raised Sebastian, you know, with Katie for many years before Chris came along. So it's not like, Chris came along and Sebastian was a little baby. That's a little bit different. And that's a choice that the child makes, in my opinion. Um, but Katie wants to play off, he wants to be a crane operator like dad. No, I don't know about that one. In my opinion. Sorry, gotta take my own advice there. In my opinion. Maria says, hey Maria says it's sad when women choose men over their children. I think what happened with Katie, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said about the ultimatum that was given, and I think that it was a lot um that was kind of snowballing, you know, um over time. And I think that, Chris wants to be the center of attention, and that's a hard situation, um, when there's a mother and their child. You never ask a parent, well, I just know from a mother's standpoint, but you never ask a parent to choose, which one. Like, so, if you're a stepmom or a stepdad, you don't say to your spouse, uh you need to choose me or them, because I would hope anybody would, slam the door in your face real quick and say, I'm choosing my kid. We don't always see that though. I mean, look at Brittany Gosney. She took little James Hutchinson and the rest of the kids out to the park and was going to leave them all there, if we're to believe her story. But either way, little James ended up, in the Ohio River, because that scruffy, nasty scrub bucket that she was with, also named James, told her to. Said, you're all gonna be out on the street. Um, you know, you need to get rid of your kids. You could stay, but they can't, right? Or you're all out. So what'd she do? Oh, she didn't want to be out, and I always wonder why. And I'll never ever get over it either, unfortunately. Um, that they didn't initially take Katie by herself and question her. They should have taken her right in, right as soon as she called it in. They should have said, they should have came to the house, and then they should have brought her to the police station. But that didn't happen. Instead, we got a contaminated crime scene, and all of that. Hey, Rob Royce. Barb says a neighbor said that they saw someone carrying a heavy black object in the night he went missing, in my opinion. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, and I think it might have been Bobby that said that. Yeah, Bobby the neighbor. So she's kind of changed her story so many times though. At first I thought she was being brave and coming out with information and, you know, gonna talk, and then she kind of also, started with Crabtree and UA, and I think Katie is another one of these women that picks a man over her kid every time. Well, and we see it so often, Holly, and it's like I just don't know how somebody could do it. Does anyone know if Chris worked with a friend or relative called Paul? Mm, I do not know, Kylie. That's a good question. I have a feeling Kathy did not know about Katie's mom, in my opinion. Can you hear CP explaining that to Faith's grandmother? Yeah, I have a feeling, Gina, that's a good point. I have a feeling a lot of this stuff was probably under wraps for most of the family until it came out. And I think that's what was so upsetting and shocking when it did. In my opinion, that's a great point, Gina. Thank you. Um, she got rid of his cats right off the bat. Chris knew he could get away with anything. Holly, and thank you for reminding us of that because that's another thing that's very important, right? Because I mean, you're choosing so some people might say, "Well, Lady Freedom, that's crazy because, why would you choose a cat over a person?" And then some of you might be like, "Hey, I like cats more than people," right? So, some of you might get it whatever. But so I get like the, on the surface, look of it. But yeah, I mean, they had those cats. She knew that Sebastian loves cats. That's like the biggest thing that they talk about all the time is how he loves cats, right? And when Chris moves in, he's like, "Well, I'm allergic, so you got to get rid of the cats." I mean, I don't even think I would have the gall or the audacity to ask somebody to do that, especially if they were their kids' cats. Like, yeah, thanks, Holly. I mean, puts it into perspective. Lori Lori says that's so forked up. I love that, Lori. Oh, that show's so funny. Kylie's Dale Candy says, I want to know what the neighbor Bobby's husband's name if got one of her two kids. I don't know. I tried to be kind of a little bit more private with her because I knew she was having some issues with, people coming at her and with the kids and then, with nasty old fishy and, you know. Yeah, and see, Barb, that's what's so sad. I really think that Chris really thought he could discipline Sebastian into not having autism, right? And I'm sorry that to hear that that's how your family's treating the situation. Um, It doesn't help. What helps is therapies, what helps is understanding, what helps is giving a little bit more patience and care, that helps. You know, treating a child who has autism, just as you would a child who doesn't have that set of circumstances to deal with, it's always going to be a losing battle, right? And then Chris sits there and gets so mad, right? Because his little baby ego gets hurt, and he's just, he can't handle it because he was wrong, right? And they hate admitting when they're wrong. It damn near kills them, you know Detroit says, while they sat there and had tea and crumpets with LE and talked about jewelry. I know. Well, even on day 5, right? Maybe 6, it was the morning time. But Ken Widener said he was going over to Chris and Katie's to have tea and crumpets. He was on his way there. He said, after this, I'm going to have tea. No, he didn't say tea and crumpets, but he might as well have. I mean, shit. If he was coming to my house, I'd have made him, some coffee at the very least. To get them some muffins. I mean, shit, they're out there looking for my kid. I'd have a whole different spread of different baked goods for them to choose from, right? How do you like your eggs? That's how I'd be with law enforcement that was helping me find my son. Um, so, Bo. Aw, I would love to take a kitten. Oh my goodness. I don't know what the beagle would do. I love I love cats too. And could you imagine having to get rid of your animals that you love and that you find comfort in? Holly said that too. They find they're the autistic child's comfort, and to take that away. Oh, the animals in there. I know. I know. I know what. Oh gosh, SA officer. I know. Yeah, biscuits. I'd be making everything. I'd be making everything. Organized Pigfest, maybe CP wanted more of his money he paid them off with, in my opinion. Very well could have been. Kylie. Hey, Amy Lynn. She says they took everything away from Sebastian that he loved. Yeah, I agree with that too. And getting these hypoallergenic dogs, and but it did look like Sebastian loved um gosh. Well, and then yeah, the snake, his snake, Brownie, took that too. Gosh. Yeah, Amy, that's a great point. Yeah. Well, and then they had a couple of dogs that it looked like that didn't last long. I don't know what happened. And then, Katie's telling, Smiley like, "Oh, we had a bearded dragon, it died." Or no, no, that was Chris. He's like, "It died." I'm like, "Oh geez." Which animals pass away. I get it and stuff, but it's like they had a lot of animals that would come and kind of go. Um but that's another thing with narcissists, though. They don't look at, people as individuals or anything. They look at, even their animals as property, which technically I guess they are. But a lot of us look at them like our best friends and our family members, so good night, Maria. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, and I think we're gonna switch gears over just a little bit here to Devlin's case too. I want to show you guys the search that they did, which was really, interesting to see the area. Mosquito Bite says, "What do you think about the collab with two of our fellow members of Sebastian's army doing the test in the cemetery? It broke my heart. I pray he's still alive." I think that it's a good thing to do tests and, see if you can, you know, well, I'll tell you, if somebody sent me footage like what Mob Crew got, I'd be wanting to do some trial runs and see, how probable that is as well. And I just think it is something that, you know, needs to be looked at, especially if there was activity in the cemetery, because why would there be? And I also remember Terry Lynn, normalizing that in the cemetery, and I don't understand why. Because typically the cemetery is booming during the day and not a lot of people go there at night. Um, you know, unless it's like a spooky thing, you're trying to kind of scare yourself type of a thing. Like maybe you're like kids and you're like, "Hey, let's go to the cemetery at night." You know what I mean? Like that's different. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Um, but I think collaborating and working together for Sebastian's army is what we all have to do, and like I said, I take a big piece of that to heart, because whenever I asked Jen from astrology for mystics with Jen, whenever she asked me where I wanted to go when I came to Tennessee, to search for Sebastian, or where are some spots that I was, interested in, I told her, I said, I don't really know the area well enough, so I was hoping that you could show me some places that you were interested in, or that you would like to show me. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I got you there." And so the cemetery was one of the places that we went, and putting it into perspective, with the Masonic Lodge and how it's all set up. Um, Sorry, I had to move my foot. I was sitting on my foot for too long. Um, I think that was a big part of, um, why people are re-examining this. And I think that's a good thing. And I also think that it was fantastic that Silver's on the scene also went out to Stop 30, which was another area that Jen and Jeff brought me to that stirred up some attention, right, to Sebastian's case in following some of the clues. And so I think that even though, um, you know, everything that is being done behind the scenes is not always mentioned, I'm very proud of what Jen and I did to get people to start looking at the cemetery, if that makes sense. So I know that it's something that they're collaborating on, but then also just remember that Silvers did go to Stop 30 as well. So these are areas of interest based on a lot of the interest that Jen and I generated from the Pigfest trip, right? So um that is way more than I could have ever asked for than, starting a big ruckus at Pigfest, or coming toe to toe with Cluminati and we go into the ring and fight, right? Or something like that that everybody was kind of, thinking might pop off. I think what actually came of it is very positive. So I'm very happy that they're doing these test runs and coming up with new ideas. So yeah, I'm excited about that part. And IML says, Lady Freedom, did I put up your sign for your daughter? Oh, I missed the beginning of the show. No, I haven't put it up yet. So I have to take down my Christmas and then I'm gonna put it up. So I'm excited about it though. So it's gonna be like a little bit different. The cool thing is it's see-through, so you can actually see some of the tapestry in the background too. So but no, thank you, IML, for asking. I'm really excited about that. So um yeah, well, and it wasn't a very nice night out, as the officer says, in my opinion, constantly crushing his spirit. You know, it just seems like that's what Sebastian's norm was, and that's kind of how Katie was with him, always dismissive or he was in trouble. Dismissive or you're in trouble. Dismissive, punished, right? The dark forces of the cooter the cooter foots. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. No, and that's what I mean about the torture as I officer. I hate to be dramatic, but I mean, gosh, I don't know. I've never hated somebody so bad that I wanted to make them cry and then watch it on Facebook Live. So, you know, um yeah, he would. He would argue with a fence post. Kylie's nail candy. That's what I always like to say, about a narcissist. They'll argue with the fence post. Gina says Katie can't talk to Seth, but makes fresh muffins for Crab and make this. I know, I know, Gina, and it's just sad because you know I think that I would feel, especially if my child went missing out of my care, I would feel like obligated to give that to the other parent. Like everything I could. I'd be apologizing live streams, I mean, oh my gosh. I am not autistic, and if you got rid of my animal, I would lose it. Aw, yes. If you heard it, yes. And being a child, not being able to do anything about it. I know. Well, and I think that's a lot of Sebastian's trouble and turmoil that he was going through is because he's extremely intelligent, and then he knew that he couldn't do much, and so he was feeling, in my opinion, like very suffocated, you know. In that regard, right? Like helpless. Yeah, constantly in survival mode, walking on eggshells. Yeah, absolutely IML. And I'm the same way. I think that's everybody, right? Because we love our animals. Ebony says, since Sebastian had recently been diagnosed with autism, I've always wondered what prompted them to have him tested at 15. Maybe something to do with the CPS reports, CP needing a scapegoat. I don't know. That's a great question, or that's a great comment, Ebony. Thank you. And good questions too. Um, yeah, I don't know what prompted the diagnosis. Because yes, it was a late diagnosis from the best of my understanding. And then he was tested. So it could have been through all of the evaluations and things through CPS, and then also maybe even perhaps when he was going to see the therapists, and they could have made, written a recommendation for some more testing, to evaluate, for autism spectrum disorder. Um, so, and I always think that Sebastian's more of like an Aspie or has Asperger's. Um, syndrome more than autism, but I know now there is a difference there, and that's not recognized anymore through the diagnostic manual. Um, so well, and it's all about control. It's all about control. I would think that maybe they would if they had some sort of evidence. Now, it's like I said, it's to my knowledge, Mosquito Bite says, do you think that they would exhume any graves? Um, and I'm not sure if they had some hardcore evidence and proof that something happened and there was like, say, a grave that had just been, the casket had been lowered in so they could have like removed some dirt and then put it back. Something like that could very well come into play if they take it seriously, you know. Um, oh, and Mosquito Bite says yes, the collab is great, and I just wonder if you thought it could be possible that he is there. I've been sticking to the belief that he's alive, and I'm just so sad. Yeah, Mosquito Bite, I don't see how they would. Again, I know it's possible. I just don't think it's probable, and I don't know why they would choose such a well-lit area right next to Sebastian's home. Now, if they did some sort of a handoff, maybe they thought they were far enough away, but then again, there's just cameras all over that area, so I just think that it would be really tough. IML says that she's visited people at the cemetery at night, um, and that there was other people visiting too, or security driving. That happens, I've seen it. Yeah, and some cemeteries are more active than others as well. Like some of them are huge, right, too. Like there's some that are just like miles and miles long, and they'll have all of these different roads and you could get lost, and all of that. So yeah. um I mean, like I said, anything is possible. I just I'm just having a hard time. Well, because wasn't it like 6 minutes? Okay, so did I get, just let me know if I got this wrong, guys, but wasn't it like 6 minutes um that the lights were on? I mean, how long were they in the cemetery total? Because it would have to be an in and out kind of a job? Yeah, her looking around the Texas Roadhouse is creepy as fuck. I know, Holly. I know. Um, I heard about that, Detroit. You guys stay safe. I heard you guys are gonna have a big storm up that way. I sure did. Oh my goodness. I'll be praying that you guys don't lose power too. Oh my gosh. And I just get anxiety when I hear that the weather's bad in Michigan now. It's something I didn't ever worry about, but I do now, you know. Oh gosh, it's very cold. So there's a cold front coming in, guys. Hello, CG. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Mally Cat. Good to see you, Mally Cat. It's so good to see all of you guys. Thanks for coming in. Oh, yes, the shit is gonna hit the fan really soon. Oh, I'm praying for it. I'm praying for it. Yeah. Yeah, and it just depends on the comorbidities that exist, right? And everybody's individuals. That's why it's so tough, and that's why it's so important for us to, understand the person, the individual, rather than the diagnosis, right? Like, we can hear that somebody's on the spectrum, but I think it's very important for us to recognize that everybody is very much um unique in our own ways. All of us are, whether we're on the spectrum or we're not, you know, our diagnoses don't define us, as I said the other night, you couldn't look at me and say, well, you have PTSD, because of abusive relationship. Nobody can look at you and tell that, so I think that's important to remember and recognize too when we're looking at individual cases, because you guys know I like to compare cases as well. I think that's very interesting, and I think it brings a lot to the table. We can establish some patterns in true crime and everything like that. Um, and just kind of switching gears to Devlin's case. So, I was having a conversation earlier about Devlin and just how things were that way as well on the missing flyers and things like that. That things were not really truthful, right, when it came to Devlin's case. And I say that because um, some of the things that were being said about Devlin's mannerisms or his mental capacity were being fudged, and that was in order to um, entice people to look for Devlin, right? Because he's obviously at the time of his disappearance, he was 18 years old, almost 19. And so with that being said, it's it's a tough situation to kind of be in when you're making or building a profile on a person and trying to get uh, a baseline established for who they are and what they like to do and what their routine would be, right? And especially with the spectrum disorder, and a lot of the other things that were being said about Devlin at that time, um, it made it a little bit hazy when it came to actually understanding who Devlin is. Like, even for example, there were some missing yard signs that were put up, and they were saying, "I'm lost, come find me, I'm lost." And actually, let me take this down and I'll show you. Um, if I can get my big head out of the way. Um, there we go. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Excuse me. Let's see here. So this sign right here says, "I need your help and I'm lost," right? Have you seen me? And it's a picture of Devlin. But he doesn't get lost because he's very good with directions. He knows how to get around town, and he's very, very good at remembering things. That's part of what makes Devlin Devlin, right? And so those are very important details to know, Oh, I'm praying for your niece as well, Miss Anne. So I think so too. I think something big is about to happen as well. And I'm just praying for it. I'm just praying for it. Hurry back, Lori. Yeah, so I want to show you guys this. I'm just gonna add this in. Um Here. Okay, guys, so I was just gonna kind of mute this part right here because they're just kind of walking around the area. And I've put this video up so you can see it without my commentary on it. But this is just a couple of tidbits, and I kind of, snipped them and then, sped them up a little bit. But this is the area over by the train tracks and where Tupper Creek is. And so I just kind of want to show you guys this. And you can see how the river is flowing, right? It's not like a raging river or anything. It's pretty calm, but it is moving, right? And it's always kind of moving through. You can see the rock bed a little bit, but in the middle is going to be obviously the deepest, for the most part. Um, and of course, they don't walk the whole area. Um, but that's kind of a good indication of where they were searching on March 18th. And they did also a search yesterday as well, guys. So just so everybody knows, we definitely have boots on the ground for Devlin Tait, and I'm just over the moon. We finally have lots of people working together for a common goal. And, from the very beginning, we've had that. So I know that there was a lot of talk about that, things weren't moving. And again, a lot of that was coming from Jessica as a mom with a missing kid. Nothing's ever going to be good enough until you, you know, have your child back. I mean, so there's that. But here's Piper's husband Chris, and he's going down, and she's very worried about him too, guys. She's like, my goodness, he's going pretty close over there under that bridge. And I mean it's pretty rugged terrain over there. You can also see there's a road that intersects that's, fairly busy. Or I shouldn't say it intersects, it runs side by side, excuse me. So, yeah, windy up here. Yeah, by Chicago, here I go. I need to get to Florida. I know. Come on down, Justice. Aw. But yeah, guys, see how he's real close up and then she does a close up. I want her to just pan over just a little bit towards the water, but I know she's watching Chris to see him come up the hill. But that water is flowing, right? So, and Devlin Tait's been missing for 8 months, just so you guys know. The 8-month anniversary was on December 21st. And then I'm going to go ahead and play this really quick. Or no, this is still where she's telling him, don't go into the bridge. I can't see you. Right. And like I said, you guys can watch the footage, without my commentary in it. But I kind of wanted to show you guys this area, and also just, how kind of far they walked to get from where they were going, or excuse me, from where they were parked. Excuse me. So, oh, it's a dam right there. Okay, thank you, Detroit. Golly, this is why I like to show you guys this stuff, because, I could be watching it and totally different than what you guys are seeing, But yeah, see, it was raining that day too, and they were out, and it was getting colder. And this is around 1 p.m. She's gonna say it a little bit here later once we have sound back. But I just kind of wanted to show you guys like where they were walking over here, and how far it took them to get, from where they were parked. So, and then, like I said, there was another search yesterday. So I definitely went over there and, liked Piper's video. Let me see. I need to get her link. Give me 1 second to get Piper's link. Oh. I don't know how I grabbed that link. All right. Either way, hold on. I'll look for it once we start playing the other. But yeah, like you can see, there's quite a bit of snow, but then on some of it, with the rain, it kind of melted it down, so it's pretty slushy. And this is that area that they're in over on this side. A special thank you to Piper and her team for being boots on the ground for Devlin. And I mean, so they walked quite a bit too, guys, and I did speed up the video. So I would say maybe like a quarter mile down. If that. Okay, and then I think here's where we get sound again.
Oh, that's just voices. She's good.
No. There was
that's
okay.
Voices for the voices.
Yeah, I see her, but there was another one. I think she did it by accident. And she exited. Yeah, she exited out.
Hey, Cece.
It's getting chilly now, guys.
You're wet.
It's getting chilly now. Yeah, I'm soaked. So.
When is it?
It's 1 o'clock. Only 1 o'clock. So we've been out here, what, 10, 11, 12, 1. Yeah, we've been out here 3 hours. Is everybody still in here?
Beginning is even when we took a day to do like a park or something, it took almost 10, 11 hours just to get one little area done.
Yeah. And with, only 3 of us now, it's definitely going to take a lot longer. We had 5 of us earlier. The news lady took off now after we searched the foam ping area. And then the Alan Wilmser, I think is what it was. Wilmser. He was a great help. So, yeah. He worked the metal detector for us, so that was really nice.
No, you start your car.
Yeah, but if I start my car, then everything connects to my car, and I don't know which one will connect to my car.
Can I ask which news thing came out today?
It was the Detroit Free Press, and she was actually the photographer. She came out it was kind of a double whammy. She came out to take my picture for the Rebecca story and to cover this story at the same time. And she actually walked the whole area with us. I mean, up until we came here to this area, she walked, the whole other area with us. So.
Well, that's good. That's actually
Yeah.
the station I reached out to in the beginning, but I only had gotten a response from WLNS, so that's good.
Yeah. So.
And then, guys, that's our friend over there, Casper, aka K Nicole. She's busted onto the live to kind of talk about how she was trying to get news coverage on Devlin. Now, I did try to look for the article in the Detroit Free Press that they did an article on Devlin, and I believe it was also, well, it was originally, like Piper said, for. Oh yes, thank you, Detroit. Thank you. You know, it was supposed to be about Rebecca Park, but she had asked them, could you please cover Devlin as well? And then the news anchor was walking with them. So huge shout out, big effort there. Really appreciate that. And then Detroit says, thank you, Piper and hubby, for everything you're doing for Devlin, right? It's just amazing. I think it's a great thing. So definitely wanted to show you guys this today, just because, this search, like I said, happened, and then they had another one yesterday. So which they did not live stream, just so you guys know. But I wanted to show this because I thought it was pretty cool. Just seeing the area too, and then looking at the river. I thought that was really powerful because I didn't know how deep it was or anything like that. And thank you so much, Jenny 3LS, Justice for Sebastian. Aw, thank you, Jenny. So um
Hopefully, at least we can get some awareness out here. We were talking about, Arlene was talking about a protest, and there was a couple of people that were talking about it, but I feel like doing it here, I think that if we do it here, it's in the wrong place. The person doesn't live here anymore. It's not far from here. It's what, 40 minutes?
okay, guys. So just kind of wanted to point that out right there. Piper is saying, it would probably be more effective to do a protest about 40 minutes from here. So 40 minutes from Lake Odessa in any direction. I mean, she could mean anywhere, right? But in my opinion, she probably means Lansing, Michigan, because that's also 41 miles, 42, 43 miles.
Yeah. So we might work on putting something like that together. We'll see what's going on. I'm gonna go drive by Tammy's house now, and see. It's actually warm in my car even without it started. It's just that wind out there with that cold rain. It does look like we might have a little bit of break in it coming there.
Somebody said shut your Bluetooth.
Can I tell you my location at the moment? How about this? We are going to run back up to the Family Dollar because, are your socks?
Yeah, my socks are fine, yo.
Your socks are good? You
my
sure?
Socks are fine.
I thought you said they were wet. I don't want you sick.
You'll be all right. Come on.
And there's the pizza shop right there. So if there's anybody else that's wanting to meet back up with us, if you want to meet at the Family Dollar right there a minute again, I wouldn't mind getting, or the Sunoco, either one. I wouldn't mind getting a hot chocolate, but nobody's gonna have a hot chocolate. I want it made with milk. Ugh. I don't like water. I don't want chocolate water. So
Get this lady a chocolate or hot chocolate with milk, please. Somebody. No, I'm just kidding. Jenny, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much. Aw, thank you. But yeah, thanks, Lori. But yeah, I mean, look, we got to get this lady hot chocolate, whatever she wants, because she's out there working for Devlin. And, they had a few people come out, which, hats off to everybody that helped out. Of course, we don't know everybody, but really, really kind of people to go out, and especially in that weather, too.
Does that have that over here in Ionia?
yeah. So
and guys, really quick, this is Bob's Barn Jams. So Devlin hung out at Bob's Barn Jams, right? It is a place where there's tons of instruments, people singing. I watched a live stream of this really beautiful young lady singing a song. They like country a lot. It seems like it's a country kind of atmosphere. And Devlin used to like to go up there and sing. So this is actual footage, and this is on Bob's YouTube channel. It says, attention, reward missing person, call Ionia, Michigan sheriffs if you have seen Devlin Tait. This is from 4/13 of 20, excuse me, 4/13/25. I think was when it was posted, but when it was originally aired was April 15th, 2025. So this is actual footage of Devlin.
yeah, I usually do go with my gut. Sorry, I'm reading comments from the other live and trying to read the ones on this one.
That's a good idea, Angela. There you go, Jess. Let me get you a thermos for Christmas for helping.
Oh, I appreciate it, guys. I have some at home. I do. I just didn't, I didn't think to bring an extra pair. I don't think about them kinds of things. We just got out the door, and so let me run.
Now, have you had a chance to speak with James from Backwoods so you could get on that app that they use to be able to trace every spot that you go?
No.
Okay, so I would like to get you in touch with that app because that is a big part of how we were able to map out certain areas that have been done. There's an app that all the volunteers download, and when they're searching, you kind of like report where you are, so it kind of maps out everywhere that you are. Actually, I believe how his maps got out in the first place. We were, not wanting to immediately, make it like public, but somebody else was signed in and took screenshots. So at that point, it was like, oh, okay, well, here are the maps.
All right. So Kay Nicole is salty, right? She's very salty about, the fact that I put the SAR maps up, but she can be salty all she wants about that. The fact of the matter is that people were saying that no one was searching for Devlin. I wanted people to feel better about that, and those were sent over to me, and I gladly shared them. There's many different tracking apps. We mentioned Sartopo earlier, but there's also Caltopo. There's a couple of different ones. Even Sebastian's map was uploaded by Fishy, and I took a look at that as well. Of his Caltopo for that. So it's not top secret. And it is a volunteer app. I don't know what's up with this Kay Nicole. She's, like I said before, I think she means well. I just don't think she does well. We'll just put it that way.
Okay. I'm teleporting to the Family Dollar a moment. Just to get out of this area, because this is that area that I feel really sick in, guys. But just sitting there is not making me feel any better. I don't like feeling defeated either, so it's aggravating me. Yeah, shoot. Hold on. There is a bunch of woods right here behind the Family Dollar, too. So, I mean, it doesn't hurt to come back here to the Family Dollar. And he was seen there, and he was seen here. Where's Carl's from here?
Okay, guys. So, yeah, really good to know. This part right here is great to know. Again, huge shout out to Piper. So, there's woods behind the Family Dollar as well. And then the train tracks go over there as well.
Close to here. Oh, that. Danica and Zach. All right.
Yeah, that. And I wanted to go check out that abandoned house, too.
Oh, yeah, that's by the laundromat. Okay, Arlene, point us back to the laundromat a minute.
All right, guys. So just to, talk a little bit about Danica, Zach. We've talked about them here on the show. They were acquaintances of Devlin, also knew his mother. It would be a lot just to get into that right now, but that's who they're referring to. I will say that Zach was the one that threatened Devlin if he ever saw him on the street, that he would hurt him when Devlin was incarcerated with Zach. And that's all been alleged by his mother, Jessica.
Do you know where I'm at?
Past Family Dollar.
You're going to go back towards Family Dollar.
This way?
Yes.
Yeah.
To the left.
Oh, you want to turn that off?
It is on mute.
Your beat stop.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it looks like scribbles when I'm in the small box.
Everything that's marked shows where you are anyway. Right here.
Take a left?
Especially when this is like blowing up.
Oh, that's why, because I came up that street by the... That's why. Okay.
Especially on the off chance.
I think somebody was meeting us at the Family Dollar, though. Because somebody was asking where our location is at the moment. I know, but that's what I'm saying. So I just want to stop here a minute and see if anybody's popped back in and wants to join up with us. Jessica, you want to come on a minute and talk? Hold on, let's see. I can add you in a minute, honey. Send record.
You disappeared again.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Hey, girl.
Hey, I don't know what happened to you. Your screen went black now.
Uh-oh. I think it's because I'm in the... I think it's because I connect... Oh, I bet you it's because I'm... Hold on. Let me un-Bluetooth.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay, really quick, guys. I just want to rewind. This lady brought over a little cross with Devlin's colors on it to give to Piper, but then she accidentally muted her microphone, so that's what we're watching here. Sorry.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, she's muted. Can anybody hear me? Hello? I don't know if this is working at all, but if y'all can hear me.
I was muted. I was muted. I'm so sorry, Jessica. I'm so sorry. But look, she came and dropped me off a little thingy. Like, oh. I love our people, you guys.
But I followed you through the bucket case.
You did? Oh.
And
I would really like to thank everybody that's out there searching, and if anybody is willing to go out and join the search for Devlin.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're
honey.
welcome.
Thank you.
I hope you guys, I wish you the best.
Thank you.
And I would help, but I work that weird shift.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you so much for your help. That was so sweet, you guys. She came to bring me a little gift. That's why she wanted to meet up with me. She made a little stocking for Devlin, like and a glue in there for him. So yeah, let's see. Hold on, guys. I'll show you. I'm gonna turn my volume down. Let me. I thought I turned my Bluetooth off, but I think I gotta.
Bluetooth off.
There we go. Oh, hold on. Effects. Take the background off. Look. Well, the crows, her and her mom, as she said, her and her mom make them. Isn't that beautiful?
I can't see you, Jessica.
Oh, I forget you can't. Hold on. Let's try again. Now that I'm off my car, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna back you out and bring you back in. I think now that my car's off and my Bluetooth's off, that it will show you me now.
Okay.
I know. This phone's gonna die either way because it's.
Okay, guys, and I have no idea how like TikTok or Facebook Live or any of those kind of operate when you're on live. I think you go straight live from those platforms, because I know even StreamYard doesn't connect to those. Well, actually, I think actually Facebook does, but not TikTok. So I don't know if they were having technical difficulties because she couldn't see her, or because Jessica only has one device working. Um, because Sabrina could see them, but also I think that Piper live streamed off of TikTok as well that day. So just throwing it out there.
Okay. Hold on. Oh.
Too. That was probably the cutest part of that bake sale to me, was not just the creative, baked goods that people donated.
Nope, still a black screen.
That's weird. I'll send you a picture.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I want to say too to everybody that's watching this. No, you're a black screen. I can't see you.
Okay, I thought maybe I fixed it, but I didn't.
But when you guys were off live and switching locations, Devlin's biological dad called me from prison. And
Okay.
Adam wants to thank everybody that's out there searching. He wants to thank you guys for all of your support in trying to find our son. And if you guys are in the area and anybody is willing and able to meet up and join the search, you guys are much appreciated. Please do. Help me find my baby.
Yeah, we're sitting here in Family Dollar parking lot just for a second to see if anybody joins us. I'm gonna try and I think run into Marco's Pizza real quick. And then we're gonna go by Tammy's next. Wow.
Okay, guys, and I know that Piper went over and talked with Tammy, but she said that I could find it on her TikTok, but I haven't been able to find it. So I'm not great with TikTok, but I'm gonna look for it again. But I would like to kind of see what was said to Piper, because Tammy and I have had conversations, but everything has been via email. So I do have it in writing where I can go back and refer to, everything that both of us said. So I found that to be interesting. And I'm also working on getting the audio for the live stream that was done with Sabrina. So, definitely look out for that. And I'll try to find the TikTok where they spoke, where Tammy and Piper spoke.
That's our next spot we're going.
I don't understand why any of them aren't out there with y'all.
Well, because Tammy's in a wheelchair, for one. Sabrina, I'm not sure why Sabrina or Will are not out there. I don't think Will even participated in the initial search efforts. But I also know that Sabrina does have a 3-year-old, I'm sorry, I think he's 2, um, little boy. So, I mean, it's rainy, cold, and icy, and that's no place for him to be. So, and it's like the pot calling the kettle black. I get so sick and tired of back and forth with the family because they hate each other so much, that they can't take a step back and just, you know, work together. And again, Jessica's no better, in my opinion.
Yeah, we don't understand that either, Jess. I'd be searching high or hell come, for any of my adopted kids, so, and they know that.
When you went down there by that little creek and you said you wouldn't go in because you were claustrophobic, I was in the comments, I'm like, I would, but I'm his mom.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, though.
That's
I mean, to say that, and guys, I know Jessica on a deeper level than most people do, right? So I kind of, will give my opinion on her comment there. she has a lot of underhanded comments like that. And again, Piper's out there in the freezing rain, cold, snow, slush, nastiness. And Jessica's like, well, I saw that you wouldn't go in there, but I would have. Well, then get your ass down there then. Okay, ma'am? Shit or get off the pot. Don't just talk about it, be about it.
It's different. Yeah, there's no way I'd even make it 2 feet and I didn't even make it 2 feet into
I appreciate everything you're doing, Jess.
No, you're welcome, Jess. No problem. I lost my vape. There it is. Oh, yeah, I'm on mute on that one. I can.
Speaking of vape, am I on the other app right now? Like, can they see me?
No.
Good.
No, I know. I have an emergency power bank.
Okay, guys. And, when I say wow, it's because she would rather be able to vape on camera than to have her son's story streaming on multiple websites. And I'm just going to let it sit with that. I'm just going to let you guys sit with that as my opinion. But this is crazy. I'm, every time I like cringe when I see her, going up on a live like this, because I know nothing good is ever going to come of it. And then to say, well, can I vape on here? Oh, great, wonderful. My son's story isn't on multiple platforms right now. Like, I don't even think she realizes it. And I do think she looks very stressed out. Yeah, to say the least. But I also wonder how much of that is, drug use, in my opinion. Very childish, Holly. It's sad, really. I was just blown away. Again, I think it's probably why I haven't seen Jessica on many more lives. The two that we reviewed, um, she was on camera. The other one she didn't cam up for. But sometimes it's just better, not to. Because all she's gonna do is talk about Adam and wanting to vape. And that's the general gist, unfortunately, of the interview. Where you would think a mother of a missing child would just be wanting to get up there telling his story. It's just it's bad. It's bad. It's bad, Cheryl. It's really, really bad. Mm.
Because my good friend back here brought me emergency power bank for my phone. So if my phone...
Thank you, sweetheart, because Jessica doesn't say thank you, but thank you for doing that. Thank you for searching for Devlin.
Phone dies, I do have an emergency power bank, so I guess it don't matter if I have the car on.
Adam asked me to send him a JPay tonight and keep him updated.
Adam needs some money in the JPay tonight or whatever. Guys, it's, this is why I cannot have her on here doing this. It's not about you and Adam, it's about Devlin.
I'm going to let everybody go for a minute, and I'm going to go into the Marco's Pizza, and I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then once we get back to Tammy's, I'll go live. I won't let everybody go on the TV, but I'm here a minute, because this one I can leave with Chris, and I can leave my mods doing what they need to do. This one I don't have that. So...
All right. Will you just let me know when you go live again so I can...
I sure will, honey. Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Look at my boys go.
Okay, guys. So that's what I have for that. March 18th, or I don't know why you want to call it March 18th. I keep getting Sebastian's case and Devlin's mixed up on dates for some for some reason. They're very similar. There's a lot of similarities, I should say. December 18th, hello, 2025 search for Devlin Tate. So it's crazy, and I understand that people self-medicate, right? I've self-medicated myself, just to be completely honest. But I think the big problem here is that we have a deeper level of selfishness, of only caring for themselves, and they all failed Devlin. That has been my conclusion that I've come to. Now, anybody can redeem themselves in the way of if none of the family members had anything to do with it, which we really don't know that at this point. We're still waiting on a polygraph from Tamra, Sabrina, and Will, who have all three agreed to take a polygraph and they've taken the next step to do that. Jessica, on the other hand, I don't know what she's doing, but she needs to step up her game. She needs to stop worrying about vaping on camera and she needs to start worrying about her son, right? Because Piper is doing above and beyond for Jessica's son. And instead of being grateful and acting appropriately as a mother, Jessica is doing anything but that, in my opinion. Right? So Devlin Tate went missing April 21st, 2025. He was last seen at Carl's supermarket at 8:21 a.m. on video surveillance, allegedly. I have not seen this footage, but I have a trusted source that assures me that the footage does in fact exist. There's a lot that has been coming out in terms of, you know, a final timeline for Devlin. I never like to say final timeline for Devlin. I never like to say a final timeline for any of these cases until it's been solved, because only then will we know those bits of information, and even so some of them will be saved for trial, right? So there's never a definitive way to say that, and I would very much hinder people from believing something like that. But to the best of my knowledge, we have Devlin's, because Devlin wasn't seen on camera, allegedly, to the best of our knowledge, after his trip to Carl's, where he used his EBT or his food card. They call it a bridge card up in Michigan. And he purchased something to drink and some food. And then he headed over to the laundromat to charge his phone. While he was at the laundromat, he spoke with his adopted brother, Matt Tait. And that conversation happened when he tried to call Sandra, his adoptive mom. Matt Tait lives with Sandra and intercepted the phone call when Sandra was in the bathroom that morning. He spoke with Devlin. According to Matt, he spoke to Devlin for 30 minutes. So after getting off the phone, that would have been 9:30 a.m. Right? There is excuse me. There has it's been said that there is some sort of proof of a Life 360 ping for Devlin at 9:30 or 9:28 to be exact, over at the sewer treatment plant. I would also hinder people, or I would also ask that people take that with a grain of salt, because again, we have not witnessed any type of screen grab or any type of proof that this has happened. So I would absolutely um, be shy with that, right? It could be a possibility, but then again, it could just be that this young lady, wants to help find Devlin and she could be making some things up. Like I said, I still have never seen this proof, even though it's been circulating around. So I kind of put that in the back of my mind. There's a lot of other sightings, right? That people, and I'm using air quotes, but you can't see me, that people have put out there, like, oh, I saw Devlin and he was petting my dog and he walked in the direction of Sunoco. Well, if he walked in the direction of Sunoco, he would have been caught on camera, but yet he was not. There's cameras all over Sunoco, guys. We've gone over it before. So please just trust me when I say I've seen them, looking at the Google Earth view of, or excuse me, the little man, I forget what it's called, but Google it, y'all. And so, you can see those cameras out there. One sighting that has been corroborated by two sources, and I do feel more comfortable saying that it very well could be uh, true, that Hey Sandwich, that two people saw Devlin around 3:30, 3:45 ish, right in town. So I think that there is a strong possibility that that is something that we could rely on, right? But then there's also a guy that said that he saw Devlin at Swifty's Park at 10:30 a.m. that morning, even though he's never come forward to confirm any of that. And when asked about it, he doesn't say a word. Hey, Laura Arnold, welcome in, guys. Um, so again, it could be someone searching for clout. We see this all the time in these cases, right? But something happened to Devlin either after 4 o'clock, right? Or prior to that, because he wasn't seen on camera. Now, we do have a phone ping of Devlin's at 11:46, or excuse me, 11:47 p.m. in the trailer park. But I do want everybody to remember that when Sabrina in the Star Wars shirt, right? Devlin's aunt, cousin, whatever. Whenever she called him in missing, it was 10:32 p.m. and she sent the police to that trailer park because Devlin had a parapro that lived in the trailer park. And we've heard from Joni Sowers. She did an interview with Piper. And what she says is that sometimes Devlin would come by her house, and that occurred about 3 to 4 or 2 to 3 times a week. I can't remember exactly, but a couple of times, we'll just say a week, Devlin would stop over and say hello to her, and they would sit on the porch and talk. There were also instances where Devlin came over and he was shivering cold and only had a t-shirt on, in that he didn't go home that night. Right? He was perhaps locked out of the house. So, with that being said, and that part corroborated, Devlin may have stopped over at the Parapro's house, right? However, I find it very odd and very coincidental that his phone pinged in that same area after the police searched the area that night that he went missing. Right? So there's a lot to this story that doesn't make sense. And so, of course, when I'm watching Piper and how she's going through this case, in the way that I did as well, talking to people. Of course, I can't be boots on the ground because I'm not in Michigan, but just the fact of her going and investigating and talking with people and trying to figure out what had happened. Um, it seems like she might be coming to some of the same conclusions that I had early on, right? But then you also have to consider that we are dealing with people who have different quirks, right? Sabrina's a very quirky person. And I will say that she exaggerates the truth, right? And we're going to go over her interview again, the one in the Star Wars t shirt who reported Devlin missing, who had an altercation with Devlin prior to him going missing, and whose boyfriend Will lived in the house, right? So it was the lady in the striped shirt, Tamara, Sabrina, her daughter, in the Star Wars t-shirt, and then her boyfriend Will, and also Sabrina's 2-year-old, right, from her other marriage. But we're going to go over that interview, and I also wanted to bring in a couple of the things that were inconsistent from what she told me and what she told the Piper. I do want to say that Sabrina did start crying during this interview, but she wasn't crying for Devlin. She was crying because she either felt guilty or she wanted to feign remorse about the reward money that she took from to fix her vehicle, right? But either way, I've never heard her cry when speaking about Devlin on my panel or Piper's panel, only when confronted with this fact that, she took the money. So with that being said, it's an interesting interview. So, Sam, they did ask that, how long was she blocked? And the argument was about to get her blocked. Well, and see, they were talking about, well, I know this because of the text messages, right? Because they were talking about Devlin's guardianship paperwork, and Will and Sabrina were going around with him about it, right? And also the argument uh, had a lot to do with that, in my opinion. And then the blocking her was probably due to that too, although she described the altercation that they had with that it wasn't the recliner, it was a folding chair, so that she pushed Devlin back into the folding chair. And I'm not twisting her words when I say that, but if you back somebody up, right, that's pushing them, because they're having backward momentum, that if you didn't touch them, they wouldn't fall back, right? So that's just the way I look at it. Yeah, and that's another thing too, Sam. And the police are well aware of the Facebook posts being erased. They are well aware of it. Yeah. And I know that they're going to do their due diligence when it comes to that. And whoever did that, because if it was Devlin, I think we would have been notified that he was found. So the fact that we haven't been notified that he's found, because he's the one that erased the post, right? And they were able to track him down, says a lot about the fact that somebody else had to have done it, right? And there were 2 posts, one of which was Devlin's post about him not being able to put up with Tammy in the striped shirt anymore. And then the second post that was removed was a dedicated song to his mother, Jessica. Now, I might not like the way that Jessica acts. I think that she acts horribly, right? But I also don't think that Devlin's hiding there with her. But I will say that in the event that Sabrina, Will, and Tamara all passed a lie detector test, I would have to ask Jessica to do the same, right? Because then all eyes would be on Jessica. And also, there were a lot of items that were added to the Christmas for AJ that could have been misconstrued into being items that were for an adult. And I can't shake that, right? Because it was very weird to me when I saw it. And as a matter of fact, I reached out to a couple of people about that because of that, right? Because it was alarming to see that. Um, but yeah, I absolutely took screenshots of Devlin's Facebook before and after with both of the posts that were erased and given them right to law enforcement. So they are well aware. Um, So maybe someone guessed his Facebook password. In my opinion, could have been right, Andrea, or like he was logged into their device prior to this, and then they all of a sudden noticed, like, oh, yippee, and went in there, or they were trying to hack the crap out of it because when Piper showed that on Facebook, everybody on that platform where everything has been popping off went nuts. Right? Devlin's last post 20 days before he went missing is missing. Right? And then thankfully, I was on the case earlier than that, and I had showed all of his posts from that particular account because he's got a couple of them. Devlin's got like 4 Facebook pages, or profiles rather. And, so I was able to go back and be like, "Oh, okay." And then when I asked Piper, I said, "Hey girl, could you tell me by any chance when you discovered this?" And she's like, "Oh, it was a couple of days ago, right? Or it was like the day before." I can't remember which exactly it was, but I put it in a earlier video, right? So then we knew like 100% that it had been done recently because when I did the screen grabs, it was November 21st, and then I presented to you guys November 22nd. So that was when I was all up in that Facebook account, and I went back to it again, and everything was still there, right? I've been back through them a couple of times, just to kind of look back because I didn't screenshot every single post, just the ones, you know, that were relevant. And so, but you can still see them, like part of it when I screen grabbed it, it wasn't going to be completely perfectly cropped out. So you can still see, where he was posting like the picture of the eagle and, on the water. And, he had posted a couple of like prettier pictures and stuff like that. But, I would go back to his page and look to see if there was something that I was missing about his mindset. Um, so, but yeah, everything was intact until I heard Piper's live and her say, "Oh, that it was gone," right? Because she did that with Lori, the neighbor, and she's like, and then her one of her mods, Shelby, was like, "Oh yeah, it's gone. It was, it was just there, and now it's gone." And so I was like, okay, so they legitimately took those screenshots, a couple days before. Thank you, Detroit. Hey, Joe. I'm sure Sabrina was checking his social media regularly. I know. Well, and I mean, you would think they would, you know? I mean, just to see if he's done anything because, sometimes I don't know how that works on Facebook posts if the police can get a notification when somebody is active that's missing or, I mean, they have so many great technologies they use, but I'd be checking to see if there was ever any activity. Someone has his movement locations info to know his phone pinged at the trailers. Well, and see, that's what I'm wondering too, Sam. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, um, and that's from the cell tower too, not the Life 360. Just so everybody knows that 1147 ping that was Life 360, or excuse me, blah, that was a cell tower ping. So not a Life 360. And that story doesn't even make sense with what Matt says that he was on the phone with him at the laundromat. He would have never been able to get over there in time for that to have happened. Yeah, well, and that's a big one. That's a big one, Detroit. They knew how much money he had and kept tabs on his accounts. I know, and they still do. They still have tabs on his accounts. And thank you, in my opinion. Yeah, and two, um Devlin had a couple of different bank cards, right? And I know Sabrina had said that here. She said that on Piper's too. Um, so that's something that I do consider when I'm considering if Devlin could have had money that they didn't know about per se. I don't know if they had access to those accounts, but Sabrina told me that they didn't. Right? But how did Devlin buy a new charge cord? Or excuse me, the charge box. So, I mean, that's something, and then also Jessica had mentioned that Devlin had bought her that vape. Well, what do you mean I can't use this? Devlin bought this for me. It doesn't matter. You're doing that on camera and you're not supposed to be. Right? But she said Devlin bought it for her, you know? And, this is another thing I thought of too, Detroit, when I was listening to Sabrina's interview with Piper today again. Um, she said that he had a cupboard that he kept all of his bedding in. So his pillow, his blanket. I mean, I would imagine there was one blanket that at least went on the floor for him to sleep on the floor on, and then another blanket to cover himself up with and a pillow, right? And then you have his clothes and then his medications, everything in one cupboard or cabinet as she described it. I don't know anybody that could just live out of one cabinet. So, and then she also said that her son has grabby hands, which she told me he has sticky fingers. And I'm like, your baby does? And she's like, yeah. But she said it again that Devlin's stuff would disappear because her baby would take it. So it just made me wonder, where are Devlin's belongings? But she said his medications are still at the house. That his cupboard is still the way it was left, according to what she said to Piper. And we'll go over that tomorrow. Yeah, Sabrina knew it, in my opinion. That's why he had so many different accounts. Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably it. Because he probably didn't want people in his business, at a certain point. I think they were mad about the money too, Detroit. I think they were mad about the money. That is the motive. If I go with, Sabrina did something, because I don't know that Tammy could have, and I don't think that she did per se, right? She might have guilty knowledge. I'm not sure about that. But if I'm going with that theory that it could have been Sabrina and Will and something, went wrong because of the tumultuous situation in the household, that could be a very high probability, with the motive being money, right? They had the opportunity because Devlin lived there. And then also, you have to have the means to do it. And I think that they, something could have happened, maybe even accidentally. They didn't get a warrant for his phone that fast to know that night. So, right, exactly, Sam. And they were also, um, hesitant to get his phone records because they really thought that he ran away because of his situation, in my opinion. And then also they were trying not to trample over his rights. Um, yes, Detroit, they were constantly in his business and wouldn't let him have a personal life, in my opinion. I agree with that. They were very much so in Devlin's business, and he didn't want them to be doing that anymore, especially once he was emancipated, in my opinion. Hey, Crazy Bird, good to see you. I know, I know. I don't know about the son buying the vape thing. I mean, I don't know. I went round and round with my daughter when she started vaping in high school, and I found her vape, and I was like, "You're not old enough to have this," and I was mad. I was really mad about it. So I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, before the fact, lady, he didn't have privacy with them at all. Right. No, you are very true, Detroit. Imagine sleeping on the floor right there, Tamara sleeping in the recliner. I mean, no privacy, right? The other room was full. So there wasn't anything, that he could do about that other room. And then Sabrina and Will had their own room, and then the baby had his own room. Devlin stuck on the floor in the living room, you know? So Sam, she does is, I mean, that woman sleeps more than any of us do. And then she's talking about how she would jump into the freezing cold water. Oh, please. Yeah, his mom is just as bad, Detroit. And that's one thing I wanted to make sure that I was honest about, because, I really did try to help her out. But in the same way, it's just so tiresome from both sides to hear them pointing the fingers, and this one did this and this one did this. Okay, well, everybody did bad, so let's move on, try to figure this out. um I don't care what any of them say. Devlin was abused. He was definitely abused any way you look at it, right? And even Sabrina said that his phone got shut off by Jessica because he kept hanging up on her. So was his phone shut up off by Jessica in January when those text messages were sent to me that Tammy sent to me, right? Because it makes me wonder. Because Jessica said, "Well, and she sticks to the same story." The thing about Jessica, Devlin's biological mother, is she sticks to the same story, so it seems believable. But the problem with her is that she's lying. And so even if she sticks with the same lie, it doesn't make it true. And that's the problem with Jessica, right? So she'll be like, "Oh, well, I'm on a fixed income, so when Devlin was in jail, I turned his phone off." I don't know if that's true or not, and I would love it if somebody would, help me out with that. I might even ask Tammy just to see, because I like to get the right information. But I have a feeling that his phone was shut off by Jessica when she said she was going to um, shut it off, Well, she does everything through Western Union, CC, so I don't know. I don't know if he bought one for her and sent it to her in the mail. Like, I don't even know if you could buy vapes on, maybe he bought it on Amazon? Can you buy a vape on Amazon? I don't know. Hold on, let me see. Oh, let me see. Vapes. Well, you can buy them on Amazon. Interesting. But she had one that was kind of it looked like it came from an actual, like, a smoke shop, because it was one of those big ones. Um so that's a good question. That's so sad, being a teenager, he didn't have normal time and comfort of being secure in his surroundings. I agree, Detroit. I know, and I feel so sorry for Devlin, because everybody thinks it's okay the way he was treated. That's horrible to me. I think people need to start being real with themselves, you know? I took him for granted. I wasn't as kind to him as I should have been. We shouldn't have made him sleep on the floor. We should have helped him out better. All of these things, but Sabrina doesn't like to be wrong. And if she is, it hurts her ego big time, to admit that, right? Again, she didn't cry for Devlin or his situation or him being missing. She cried because she was getting flack about something that she did. Sandwich says, I mean, if she's gonna vape, buy your own $8 vape. Yeah, Devlin is barely able to have a place to be while Jay is vaping. I know, party in the I know, Sam, exactly. Thank you. I mean, that's where I'm at with things. I'm kind of amazed by all of it, right? Because she's absolutely wrecking herself, and she thinks everybody else needs to be checked, and I'm like, "No, you need to really check yourself, because everything you're doing is coming out to make you look guilty." Like, I mean, and I don't know that she is. I mean, I don't think Devlin could have made it there unless she sent him the money, but it seems like they were on the outs too, big time. Like he was, not really talking to his mom as much. I mean, a couple of days before he went missing, yes, but there's a bunch of time there where, and then she didn't even, reach out to him on Easter, and they all did bully him, probably not aware of the pain truly inflicted until, yeah, bam. Yep, and then he's missing. And I think that that's a big part of it if there isn't guilty knowledge or family involvement, which of course, I can't rule it out. But I think that's a big part of it is that they know that they know damn well what they did. They know damn well, I think she turned it off. Yeah, I think and she said she was going to if Devlin kept on um if he kept on um talking back to her or hanging up on him or hanging up on her. And I laughed too because I saw she put a vape on her Amazon wish list. I was like, I'll be damned. Oh my gosh. And I could see it. I can see it. And actually, I mean, I was gonna do a little extra for Jess too, but yeah, it's bad. Yeah, yeah, I think Sabrina is stone cold by survival. I think so too. And Sabrina's been through a lot too. When I look at Sabrina's situation, taking care of Devlin at a young age and everything, it is tough. It is very tough. For one of the younger family members to always be worried about what the older family members are doing because they're all acting crazy, right? They're RSOs, they're doing this, they're causing trouble. And then here she is trying to catch everything. I don't know if all of that got to her or if that's why we're seeing such odd behavior by her, you know. And I know Jessica didn't have it easy either. So just to be honest, look at the condition they are in. These are people who are supposed to be caregivers to a child with special needs. Oh, Detroit, well said. Devin looks like the one who would be the caretaker. And the way that he spoke, he was more mature than they were. Detroit, I agree with that 100%. He's like, please don't speak to me that way. I don't need to be ordered around, thank you very much, and I'm like, go Devlin. And even when he lost it, I was rooting him on because I'm like, this poor kid, Sam, it wouldn't shock me. Yeah. Me neither. I don't know, Detroit. I don't know, excuse me, Andrea. I don't know. I don't know. That last video made me worried when she was on panel. That's why I was like, when I realized that she was on this other panel again, I was like, "Oh no, how many times has she gone up there, done crazy stuff?" So, yeah, because it looked like she just hooked AJ up and then she took him off. And even the chat was asking questions. And the thing is that Jessica thinks she's gonna fool people, but she's not fooling anyone. Um, yeah, she's got the cool mom syndrome. Yes, Sam, exactly. Like, "Oh, I know your friend that's going to that's in prison with you. Oh, I know him from back in the day." It's like, "No." Like, how? And no. That whole family had to be tough, yeah, and not deal with their trauma and family dysfunction. I agree with that too. Yeah, and then Sandra saying that to Devlin, and, he had it coming from all angles, Sam, you're right. It is just like, it's like anytime he tried to find, a soft place to land, he was hit with a harder place to land, and then it hit him even harder, like, wow, my mom doesn't even care, or she's ganging up with, on me with the rest of them. And losing Bill Tait was very difficult for Devlin by all accounts, and even his own, talking about how he'd go up to the church and talk with bill. And, um, just putting myself in Devlin's shoes, he was really going through it at the time of his disappearance, and we cannot discount that because it's uncomfortable for other people, so we're just going to keep continuing, um, on with analyzing, everything that we can in this case, trying to get a better timeline, and then hopefully something will break with the Facebook, being manipulated in whatever way it was, because we're not sure how this happened, but we know that it did happen. So, um, but I love you all so very, very much. Thank you so much for being here, guys. And thank you to everybody who stuck around to hear about Devlin. I know that his case isn't as well known as Sebastian's. And I know, it just, one thing I told Jen yesterday, when I talked to her, um, was that I recognize that, a lot of people come in here to hear about Sebastian, and I said, "It's not about me or what I'm talking about." I said, "It's about Sebastian," and I said, "I love the fact that I have so many people in the chat when I talk about Sebastian, like, he's so loved." And, she's like, "Oh, yeah." She's like, "I know exactly what you're talking about." And she's like, "Seth knows it. Everybody knows that." And I'm like, it's just amazing to me. Like, it really, it just really makes me feel good. So I appreciate you guys being here to talk about Sebastian. And I'm praying that, any day now something breaks in his case. Also, I'm hoping and praying that, Devlin's case continues on this forward, upward trajectory, right? Because, this is exactly where we wanted Devlin's case to be. And we got his case, like, great exposure, people working together, people who are doing right by Devlin finally. And I'm just over the moon about it. So, and I just appreciate all of you guys and all of your thoughts, and gosh, I mean, yeah, I really appreciate your guys' feedback. Hey Faye, good to see you. So Aw, thank you, Sam. Yeah, I know. Well, we have a new case to talk about too. So, 2 o'clock on Tuesday, I'm going to be talking with Zachary Vidal's mom, Zachary Vidal's aunt, and we're going to talk about his case. He's been missing for 3 years, and I just don't know where he could be either. So I want to talk about him, and, he's just adorable. Let me go ahead and, oh, I can do it from here. Hold on. I want to show you guys Zachary. Um, his aunt was telling me he's just a very, loving, caring person. Very grateful. Like, she told me that they went bowling one time and he just loved it, and he just kept thanking her for letting him come with, and he really loved to always be around his family. And that's one thing that kind of stops me in my tracks is, when I hear that, he had family that he loved and people that he wanted to be around, and then all of a sudden, he's nowhere to be found. And so, he's 27 when he went missing, and, he'd be 30 today. Um, and so, it's a very sad situation, but his family loves him. His mom, his aunt, um, and he is missing out of Pottsville, Pennsylvania. So here we go. He loves the Eagles, right? So we do Eagles for him in the chat, because we asked what color he likes, and, Cindy told us that he likes the Eagles. So a big fan of the Eagles football team. You're welcome, Cece. Pennsylvania, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate you too. So, and, Zachary was last seen on October 22nd, 2022. He's, well, 30 now. Sorry, this is an older flyer, I believe. He's about 6 foot tall, 155 pounds, right? He's a cutie. Zachary Vidal was last seen on security footage in the 7-Eleven convenience store located in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And around 4 p.m. on October 22nd, he reportedly later attended a gathering at a home in the city of Pottsville. According to the occupants of the residence, Vidal left during the early morning hours and the following day, and he has not been seen since. He frequently walks near the Pottsville Free Public Library and the Wheel on Market and Center Streets in Pottsville. He was last seen wearing blue jeans, a red shirt, tan jacket, and Oakley baseball style hat. And his case number is 22-08287. And if you have information, please call Pottsville Police Department 570-622-1234. And Zachary loved music, loved music, or loves music. We don't know if he's still out there, guys, if something could have happened where maybe, you know, somebody might be hiding him out. Maybe he's hiding, but I don't know. I haven't really had that vibe, right? I'm interested in knowing more about maybe who was with him last, um, and things like that. So we're gonna get into that with Cindy, but I just kind of wanted to share his flyer tonight, and also Jules sent me another flyer that I need to get up on these posts as well. Um, but I love all of you guys so much. It was so fun discussing Sebastian and Devlin's case tonight, and I hope that we will get some closure here really, really soon. Um, so, and it could have been like the guys that he was hanging with, or something went awry. Um, yeah, Sam. I mean, it's a sad situation with him being missing for 3 years, so, um but thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna do an early show probably around, like, 2 o'clock tomorrow. I'm gonna try to do 2 o'clock this week as a show time. Just kind of a quick daytime live because I know a lot of people don't get to catch the late show. So, all right, you guys, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you guys. Thanks, Holly. Thank you, Sam. Aw, thanks, Faye. Thank you, Detroit. You guys are amazing. Bo. Aw, thank you, Andrea. Cece, I'll see you guys later.